All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain and see exactly how a modern romance story gets built piece by piece. We're going to deconstruct a single chapter from a novel that, honestly, is a perfect blueprint for the architecture of affection. So let's dive right in. And we start right here, in the middle of a feeling. This one line, from a friend to our main character, Ava Sinclair, just drops us right into her headspace. See, she's not just sad about a breakup. She's stuck on a loop, just replaying it all. And just like that, the starting pistol for our story goes off.
You know, every great story needs a problem, right? Well, this chapter sets up Ava's perfectly. She's standing at a classic romantic crossroads, just trying to figure out, okay, what's next, after a relationship that it just didn't work.
So what's really at the heart of this? It's her internal conflict. I mean, here's this super successful tech mogul who knows, logically, that her ex wasn't a good fit, but she's still hung up on it. And that's where her friends, Sophie and Mia, come in. They're basically her guides, and they're the ones who are going to start presenting her with new options, setting the whole stage for the chapter.
I just love this line. Her friend Sophie, she's not being all sentimental here. She's being an analyst. Oil and water. It's so clean, so logical. It's a total dismissal of that past relationship, and it brilliantly sets up the theme of the chapter. Romance isn't being treated as this magical, floaty thing. Nope, it's a problem that you can actually analyze and maybe solve.
So if you've got a problem, you need variables, right? Well, let's meet the first one, Ethan Cross, the engineer. The author brings him in not just as a guy, but as a potential solution to Ava's whole romantic equation.
So you look at this guy on paper, and he's perfect. He's a VR tech genius, a total intellectual equal for Ava. He's got that unpolished charm, the shaggy hair, the passion. It signals he's the real deal. By all accounts, he is the logical choice for a tech mogul. But is logic really enough?
To figure that out, the story gives us a little experiment. This VR showcase they go to, it's not just a date. You got to see it as a controlled environment. One that's specifically designed to test the chemistry between our two variables, Ava and Ethan.
And you can see how this whole thing builds step by step. It starts with a casual invite. Then they really connect in the VR game. There's laughter, there's solving problems together, there's a real spark of fun. This quickly blossoms into a shared professional vision, and then, bam, the pivot. All that personal warmth is suddenly gone, replaced by the cold, hard precision of a business pitch.
And this is where we get the results of our little experiment. The whole hypothesis was that if you put two people together who are so perfectly matched professionally and intellectually, you'll get romantic chemistry. But that's not what the data shows. Their minds connect flawlessly, but that personal, emotional spark, it's just missing.
And the author just hands us the perfect conclusion right through Ava's friend Mia. This one line just summarizes the entire failed experiment. It's funny, it's sharp, and it gets right to the core of the issue. Their connection was powerful, for sure, but it turned into innovation, not intimacy.
Okay, so variable 1 didn't pan out. What's next? Well, the story immediately brings in another one. It's time to shift the variables and focus on contender number 2, Ava's longtime friend Ryan, and he represents a totally different kind of connection.
So on one side, you've got Ethan, new, exciting, a real meeting of the minds. And on the other, you've got Ryan, familiar, comfortable, a meeting of hearts that's been built over years and years of friendship. The author is giving Ava and us a fundamental choice in romance. Do you go for something brand new, or do you build on a foundation that's already there? And check this out. The author uses the dialogue to tell us exactly what they're doing. Mia's line isn't just her giving Ava advice. It's a signal to us, the reader. The writer is deliberately tapping into one of the most beloved formulas in all of romantic storytelling.
So what is this? This is what we call the friends to lovers trope. It's like a narrative blueprint, a structure that readers instantly recognize and really respond to. By bringing this in, the author isn't being lazy at all. They're using a powerful, established tool to create real emotional stakes and get us excited for what might happen next.
So, what does this all add up to? Well, this chapter is way more than just a piece of a love story. It's a masterclass in the architecture of one. It's a calculated, deliberate construction of conflict, character, and choice. See, the whole narrative strategy here is to create tension, and you do that by setting up two totally different but totally believable options. Ethan represents a romance of the mind. Ryan represents a romance of the heart and shared history. By putting them side by side, the author makes us ask ourselves, what really makes a great partnership?
So you can literally break this down into a recipe, can't you? First, you need a relatable protagonist who's facing a big choice. Then, you need two very different contenders to represent that choice. You set up some kind of test or experiment to show us who's compatible and who isn't. You layer in some of those familiar tropes to make it feel grounded. And finally, you leave the ending open.
And that brings us to the end of the chapter. But there's no neat little bow on top. Instead, we get a simple text from Ryan. Let's grab dinner soon. Your pick. It's such a small detail, but it's a perfectly calculated cliffhanger. The experiment with Ethan is over, and now a new one is about to begin. The story engine is fired up and ready for what's next.
Which leaves us with this final thought. After breaking this chapter down, you really have to wonder, when it comes to the stories we love, is romance this unpredictable, magical feeling? Or is it a carefully constructed formula designed specifically to make us feel that way? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.